Have you ever felt like your to-do list is just constantly multiplying? Endless research, crafting presentations, managing a business. It can feel like a real uphill battle.
Oh, absolutely. You're definitely not alone in that. It's a pretty universal challenge in our fast-paced world, isn't it?
It really is.
But here's the exciting part. Artificial intelligence, AI, it's evolved dramatically. It's not just some futuristic idea anymore. We actually have incredibly practical, accessible tools right now.
Tools that can genuinely transform your workflow.
Yes, exactly. And give you back valuable time. Real, measurable time savings.
Okay, and that's really our mission for this deep dive, isn't it? We're going to pull back the curtain on, what, 7 powerful AI tools and techniques?
That's right, 7 of them. And when you integrate these into your routine, realistically, they can save you more than 10 hours every single week.
Wow, 10 hours a week. And this isn't just theory, right? These are tools professionals, entrepreneurs are actually using now.
Absolutely. These are real-world solutions being leveraged right now to not just streamline things, but to fundamentally reimagine how work gets done.
So who is this really for?
Well, this deep dive is designed for pretty much anyone eager to boost their productivity, reclaim some precious mental bandwidth.
So small business owners, maybe? Marketers?
Yeah, small business owners aiming for smarter operations, marketers needing to scale content, researchers maybe drowning in data, team managers building training.
Or just anyone looking to work smarter, not harder?
Exactly. Anyone looking for more efficiency. This guide offers actionable insights for all of them.
Okay, so let's step into this new era of AI-amplified productivity. Get ready to rethink how you work.
All right, let's kick things off. Tool number 1 is what I consider the ultimate research and synthesis combo. It's Google Gemini Deep Research paired with NotebookLM.
Okay, Gemini and NotebookLM.
Yeah. And this isn't just about, finding information like a regular search. It's about transforming you from just a data collector into more of a strategic interpreter.
I like that framing, a strategic interpreter. So what does this pairing let us do that, say, a standard Google search doesn't?
Well, think of Gemini's deep research feature as your personal, highly efficient research assistant. It can sift through hundreds, literally hundreds of sources online.
Hundreds, okay.
Yeah, to construct these incredibly comprehensive reports on pretty much any topic you throw at it.
And then NotebookLM comes in.
Right. The real power then comes from NotebookLM, which steps in to digest that massive report, maybe 20, 30 pages, turning all that raw data into actionable insights, structured knowledge.
So it makes sense of the information fire hose.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. Making sense of the fire hose.
That sounds like it could completely change how we approach any project needing, significant background work. Can you walk us through the flow? How does it work conceptually?
Absolutely. So you typically access Gemini's advanced research capabilities. Often this is in the premium tier, like Gemini Pro.
Okay, the paid version.
Right. And you initiate a deep research request. You give it a focused topic, like, let's say, sustainable packaging solutions for e-commerce businesses.
Pretty specific.
Yep. And Gemini actually proposes a research plan first, which is neat. You can review it, even edit it, before it dives in.
Oh, so you guide it a bit. How long does that take?
The research process itself, usually about 10 to 20 minutes. It's surprisingly fast for the depth.
And what do you get at the end?
You get a detailed report, often, like I said, 20, 30 pages. It's exportable, easily goes into Google Docs.
Okay, that's the Gemini part. Where does NotebookLM fit?
This is where it gets really cool. You import that big report into a new NotebookLM notebook, and suddenly you can interact with it.
Interact how?
You can ask NotebookLM, hey, give me a 2-page executive briefing from these 30 pages, or generate a podcast-style audio overview I can listen to.
An audio overview, like a mini podcast about the research.
Exactly. Great for learning on the go, or you can even have it create quizzes, study guides, even infographic outlines from the material.
Okay, that's powerful. Now, here's a key question for me, and probably for a lot of listeners. Can you use your own stuff, like existing documents or research?
Yes, absolutely. And that's a massive efficiency multiplier.
Yeah.
You can upload your own proprietary files, maybe past research reports, alongside the Gemini-generated content into NotebookLM.
Ah, so you can combine external research with your internal knowledge?
Precisely. This allows for truly tailored insights. It makes it perfect for things like market analysis, prepping business proposals, or developing complex presentation outlines based on your context.
And that audio overview feature you mentioned.
Oh, it's a personal favorite. Seriously, turning commute time or workout time into productive learning, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I can see that. So it's really not just saving hours on the grunt work of research, is it? It's shifting your mental energy.
Completely. Is moving you away from that rote information gathering towards higher level analysis and critical thinking. That's a fundamental change in how we approach work.
Okay, fundamental change. Let's build on that. You mentioned automating complex information. How about training an AI for your specific, unique needs?
Right. That brings us to our second tool, custom GPTs. Think of these as specialized versions of ChatGPT that you train to act as your personal, highly focused AI assistants.
So instead of writing those really long, elaborate prompts every single time for, the general chat GPT.
Exactly. You're essentially building a reusable expert for a specific recurring task. No more repeating yourself.
Okay, how do you build one? Is it complicated?
It's actually quite accessible within the ChatGPT platform. You go to Explore GPTs, then Create. The key, though, is being incredibly specific about its purpose. Really define what you want it to do.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine having one specifically designed to, say, summarize long client emails and complex project documents into a structured, actionable project brief.
Okay, that's brilliant. I know people who spend hours doing that manually. What's the secret to making one that actually works well?
Well, beyond just defining the purpose, you need to give it detailed instructions. In the configuration, tell it exactly how it should behave and what the output format should look like.
So for that project brief example,
You'd specify the exact sections you always need. Key objective, deliverables, timeline, maybe stakeholders, budget, whatever your standard format is.
and then you just test it.
You refine it. You test it with real content, actual client emails, real documents. And if it misses something or gets something wrong, you go back into Edit GPT and add simple single sentences to tweak its behavior. It learns from your feedback.
It improves over time.
Exactly. And you can even share these custom GPTs with your team, maybe through Chat GPT teams, to ensure everyone's using the same process, getting consistent results.
Yeah, I can see the team aspect being huge for consistency because that problem of manually pulling details from long rambling emails, it's such a time drain.
Huge time drain, and it's ripe for errors, right? Someone misses a key date or deliverable. With a custom GPT, you just paste in the communication, and bam, it instantly digests it and spits out that clean, actionable project brief. It ensures no crucial detail is overlooked.
Gets you started on projects faster with more confidence.
Precisely. Saves time, reduces errors, improves clarity.
The potential seems vast here. Beyond project briefs, I'm thinking, an AI that drafts social media posts in your specific brand voice.
Definitely. Or one that quickly summarizes complex meeting minutes, pulling out action items.
A technical documentation explainer, a blog post outliner.
All great examples. It's really about identifying those repetitive information processing tasks in your workflow and embedding a specialized AI to handle them so you can focus on the strategic, the human elements.
Freeing up brain power. Okay, moving from information synthesis and specific tasks, let's talk communication, specifically presentations, Prezi AI.
Yes, Prezi AI. Let's face it, the traditional presentation format, well, it can often feel a bit static, maybe even boring. And creating them is incredibly time-consuming.
Guilty as charged. That feeling of death by PowerPoint is real. So what does Prezi AI do differently?
It fundamentally shifts away from that linear slide-by-slide model. Instead, it uses an open canvas format. Think of it more like visual storytelling.
An open canvas? How does that work?
It automatically organizes your information and creates these dynamic, engaging flows that zoom and pan across the canvas. It helps captivate an audience, makes your message more impactful, more memorable.
So it's more fluid, less rigid.
Exactly. Imagine having the mental bandwidth to focus purely on the message and the story you want to tell, rather than wrestling with slide layouts, text boxes, and finding stock images.
Okay, that sounds like a huge relief for anyone who dreads building a deck. How do you actually instruct the AI? What's the input?
It's pretty straightforward. You access Prezi's AI presentation feature, often just by clicking a button. Then you provide your topic. Let's use an example. Onboarding plan for new remote employees in Q3 2025. Now, the critical step is providing a detailed prompt describing the content you want included. Be specific about key sections like week 1, tech setup and team intros, maybe week 2, project deep dive, and definitely outlining 30, 60, 90-day goals.
So you give them the core structure and points.
Right. The more detail you give the AI about the content, the better the result.
And then it just builds the whole thing. Structure, visuals, everything.
Pretty much. You hit generate, and Prezi AI crafts a complete presentation. It writes the content, selects relevant visuals, and designs that logical dynamic flow across the canvas, all automatically organized.
Wow. And you can still tweak it, right? You're not stuck with the first draft.
Oh, absolutely not. It provides an intuitive editing panel. You can easily refine the text, swap out images if you don't like the AI's choices, adjust formatting, change colors to match your brand. Full customization is there.
And then presenting, sharing.
You can present directly from Prezi, which gives you those smooth, engaging transitions. Or you can share it via a simple web link, or even export it as a PDF, though you lose some dynamism there.
So it really transforms hours of painful manual creation
into minutes of AI generation, followed by some light customization. It's a massive time saver.
But maybe more importantly, as you said, it frees up your creativity to focus on the narrative, the impact, not just the mechanics of slide building.
Exactly. It lets you be a storyteller, not just a slide designer.
Okay, speaking of making complex information digestible, let's shift to data. You mentioned Claude AI for data visualization and dashboard creation.
Yes, Claude AI. This tackles a really common pain point. Raw data, spreadsheets, even some traditional analytics dashboards, they're often just, well, opaque, confusing,
Yeah.
and incredibly hard to explain effectively to stakeholders.
Yeah, trying to walk someone through a dense spreadsheet is challenging. So Claude helps bridge that gap, make sense of the numbers for everyone.
Precisely. Claude excels at transforming messy, maybe disparate data points into clean, visually intuitive, and highly understandable dashboards.
So it's not just for data analysts.
Not at all. The real advantage here is how it democratizes access to data insights. It makes complex trends and performance metrics immediately comprehensible, even if you're not a data whiz.
Okay, let's say I have a bunch of sales data, maybe in a spreadsheet. How would I start using Claude to visualize that? What's the process?
So you begin by preparing your data. This could be as simple as taking screenshots of existing dashboards if they're messy, or more commonly, exporting raw data as CSV files from your CRM, your marketing platforms, wherever it lives.
Okay, got the data ready. Then what?
Then you access Claude. For the best visualization capabilities, you'll likely want one of its more advanced models, like Claude 3 Opus. The paid versions generally have stronger multimodal skills.
Makes sense. Upload the data.
Yep. You upload your chosen data, could be that screenshot, could be the CSV file, and then critically, you provide a clear, specific prompt. Don't just say, visualize this.
Right. Be specific.
Like, transform this raw sales data into an easy-to-understand performance dashboard. I need you to highlight the top 3 performing products and show me the monthly sales growth trend.
Okay, very clear instructions.
And Claude will then generate an interactive dashboard, choosing appropriate chart types,
Yep.
bar charts, line graphs, whatever fits the data and your request.
Interactive, meaning you can click around.
Yeah, often you can hover for details, sometimes filter. And importantly, if the first version isn't quite perfect, you can refine it.
How do you refine it? Just talk to it.
Exactly. You can iterate with natural language. Ask for changes like, actually change that bar chart showing monthly growth to a line graph. Or, can you use our company's brand colors for the visuals?
That's cool. You just chat with it to fine-tune the dashboard.
Right. And once you're happy, Claude provides a shareable link. That link works seamlessly on any device, desktop, tablet, phone. Makes sharing insights super easy.
This raises a question for me. Beyond general sales data, what are some of the really impactful, maybe more complex real-world applications you've seen for this? Where does it shine?
Oh, there are many. Think about marketing teams. They often have data siloed in Google Ads, Facebook Ads, email platforms. They can export CSVs from each, upload them all to Claude.
And ask it to create a unified marketing ROI dashboard.
Exactly. Something that tells a coherent story across all channels. Or sales teams integrating CRM data with, say, regional performance numbers to visualize territory strengths and weaknesses. Helps them target strategies better.
What about operations?
Operations teams, absolutely. Visualizing complex supply chain data to identify bottlenecks, tracking key metrics like order-to-delivery times, inventory levels, things that are often buried in complex systems.
So it really eliminates potentially hours of manual chart creation in Excel or other tools.
Hours and hours. And it ensures the data is always presented clearly, consistently, fostering better, faster decision-making across the board.
Okay, powerful stuff for data. Let's shift gears now to customer engagement, AI-powered customer support. You mentioned chat-based. Why is this becoming like almost non-negotiable for businesses today?
Well, think about it. Customer inquiries don't stick to a 9 to 5 schedule, right? They come in 24/7. But human support teams, they simply can't operate around the clock effectively, or it's very expensive.
True.
So AI chatbots, specifically tools like Chatbase that are built on your business's unique knowledge base, they provide instant, accurate responses to common questions anytime.
Instant and accurate. That's key.
It is. And this isn't just about, raw efficiency, though it is efficient. It's really about elevating the customer experience, getting them answers fast, and crucially, freeing up your human support team.
Freeing them up for what?
For the complex, the nuance, the high-value interactions that really require a human touch, empathy, and problem-solving skills, the stuff AI isn't great at yet.
Right. So empower customers with instant answers for the simple stuff. Let humans handle the tricky stuff. How does someone actually get started with a tool like Chatbase?
Okay, so after you set up your Chatbase account, the absolute foundational step is to upload your knowledge base. Feed the AI.
Feed the AI. What does that mean?
It means giving it all your essential documents, your FAQs, product manuals, help center articles, return policy documents, terms of service, everything that contains the official answers about your business.
So this is the proprietary information the AI learns from.
Exactly. This is what it draws its answers from, ensuring accuracy and consistency with your policies.
Okay, makes sense. Can you shape how the AI responds? Like its personality?
You definitely can. Within Chatbase's settings, there's usually an AI configuration area. You can provide instructions on how the chatbot should generally behave, set its tone, maybe you want a professional, or perhaps more friendly and conversational.
And you can make it look like it belongs on your site.
Yes, absolutely. You customize the chatbot's visual interface, the chat window, add your logo, match your brand color, so it feels integrated into your website experience.
And the final step is just putting it on the website.
Pretty much. Chatbase provides a snippet of embed code. You copy that and add it to your website's backend. Usually pretty straightforward.
Any best practices for making it truly effective?
Yeah, a few key things. One, keep that knowledge base updated. If your policies or products change, update the documents you fed the AI. Two, regularly test the chatbot yourself. Ask it common questions, try to trick it, see how it responds.
Find the gaps.
Right. And three, crucially, define clear rules for when the AI should hand off the conversation to a human agent, maybe after it fails to answer twice, or if the customer uses keywords like complaint or speak to human.
So there's a seamless transition when needed.
Exactly. When implemented well, this kind of setup can automatically handle a really significant portion, often, 60 to 80% of routine customer inquiries.
60 to 80%. Wow. That's a huge shift in how a support team functions. It really moves them from just reactive firefighting
To more strategic problem solving and handling those critical customer issues that build loyalty.
Okay, that's customer support. Next up, you mentioned the challenge of creating training materials, videos, guides. It's usually a huge time sink, right?
Oh, enormous. Traditionally, producing high-quality training videos and those detailed step-by-step guides, it requires a significant investment of time and often specialized skills or software. Guide aims to completely change that.
Guild. Okay, how does Gid manage to automate something that feels so, well, manual and labor intensive?
It's actually a really clever approach. Guide automatically generates professional training materials while you are performing the task yourself.
Wait, say that again. As you do the task.
Exactly. So the documentation isn't this separate, arduous chore you have to do after figuring out the process. It becomes a natural byproduct of simply doing your work or demonstrating the process once.
Okay, that's a paradigm shift. How does that practically work? What do I do?
So you access Guide. It usually works via a browser extension or a small desktop app you download. You click Start Capturing or something similar, and then you just do the task naturally. Click through the software, fill out the form, whatever the process is you want to document. Go through each step at your normal pace. When you're finished, you stop the recording.
And then magic happens.
Pretty much. Guide automatically processes your actions and generates both a video recording of your screen actions and a written step-by-step guide with screenshots for each action.
Automatically. Both video and written guide from one recording.
Yep, both formats.
Yeah.
And of course, you can then review and edit. Maybe clarify a step, add a note, correct anything Guide might have misinterpreted, although it's usually pretty accurate.
Okay, that's already impressive. But you mentioned AI. How does AI enhance this?
Right, this is where it gets even better. You can use Guide's AI features to add, for instance, an AI-generated voice narration to your video. You type the script or edit the automatically generated steps and pick a voice.
So no need to record your own voiceover if you don't want to.
It's exactly. Saves a lot of time and potential awkwardness for some people.
Okay.
Plus, it has automatic annotation features. It can automatically highlight where you clicked or draw boxes around important areas in the screenshots within the guide.
Making it super clear for the learner.
Very clear. And then, as mentioned, it lets you generate multiple file formats effortlessly. The video version for people who prefer watching, and that detailed PDF step-by-step guide for quick reference or printing.
And the time saving, you mentioned it was significant.
It's huge because the entire creation process, video, written steps, screenshots, even voiceover, happens from that single recording session. We're typically talking about saving, conservatively, 2 to 3 hours per guide compared to traditional methods.
2 to 3 hours per guide, that adds up incredibly fast, especially for companies creating lots of standard operating procedures or software tutorials or onboarding materials.
Absolutely. It
Yeah.
turns what was often a documentation bottleneck or burden into a really seamless part of the workflow. Create once, deploy multiple ways.
Okay, incredible ROI potential there. Last but certainly not least, number 7, quick graphics. You mentioned ChatGPT image generation.
Yes, ChatGPT image generation, often powered by models like DALL-E 3 within the ChatGPT interface. What's truly groundbreaking here, I think, is how it democratizes visual content creation.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Historically, creating even simple professional-looking graphics, it meant investing in expensive software like Adobe Creative Suite, learning those tools.
Or hiring a graphic designer, which costs money and takes time, back and forth on revisions.
Right. This tool seems to bypass all those traditional barriers.
It really does. ChatGPT's integrated image generation tool can create surprisingly high-quality, even professional-looking graphics instantly from just a simple text description you provide.
Instantly.
Well, near instantly. A few seconds usually. It's perfect for rapidly producing visuals for things like social media posts, email marketing campaigns, website blog posts, internal presentations, anywhere you need a quick visual.
Okay, so how do you go from just an idea in your head to an actual image using this? What's the process?
First, you need access to ChatGPT, specifically a version that includes image generation capabilities, like the GPT-4 tier often does.
Right, usually the paid subscription.
Correct. Then, the crucial part is crafting an effective prompt. Just saying, make a picture of a cat won't give you great results. You need to be specific and descriptive.
What kind of details?
Think about the subject. What is it? The style. Photorealistic.cartoon.watercolor.pixel art. The color palette, vibrant, muted, monochrome. The overall mood, happy, serious, futuristic. Maybe even the composition or camera angle.
So a photorealistic image of a happy orange cat wearing a tiny party hat, sitting on a stack of books, warm lighting, slightly low camera angle, something like that.
Exactly like that.
Yeah.
The more detail, the better the AI understands your vision.
Okay, you type in your detailed prompt. Then what?
You hit enter, send the message. The AI processes it and generates the image based on your description.
And what if it's close, but not quite right?
That's the beauty of the conversational interface.
Yeah.
You can iterate and refine it. You just reply to the image and ask for specific changes.
Like what kind of changes?
Things like make the background blue instead,
Yeah.
or change the cat's expression to be curious, or can you make it in a minimalist vector style instead? Or add a small mouse next to the books.
So you just talk to it to make adjustments.
Precisely. It allows for really quick adjustments and creative exploration until you achieve exactly the visual you need or something close enough for your purpose.
So it's not just about the initial speed, it's also about that creative agility, right? Having a visual communication tool basically always at your fingertips.
Exactly. You don't need a design degree or expensive software. It empowers pretty much anyone to convey ideas visually with relative ease and speed.
Okay, wow. 7 incredibly powerful tools. Gemini and NotebookLM for research, custom GPTs for personal assistance, Prezi AI for presentations, Claude for data viz, Chatbase for support, Guide for training, and ChatGPT for images.
It's a lot, isn't it? We've explored tools that can fundamentally reshape significant pieces of your workflow. And, it's natural to maybe feel a bit overwhelmed by the sheer scope of what's possible now.
Definitely, like, where do I even start? You certainly don't need to implement all 7 at once, right?
Absolutely not. That would be counterproductive.
So that raises the really important question. Given all these powerful options, how do you choose your first AI tool? Where do you dive in to get the most bang for your buck, so to speak?
Yeah, that's key. I think the most strategic approach is to start by identifying your single biggest time sink or your most significant workflow bottleneck. What's the one task that consistently consumes the most hours or causes the most frustration each week.
Focus on the biggest pain point first.
Exactly. If you're spending, say, 5 hours a week just manually sifting through research papers and articles, then maybe Gemini and NotebookLM are your ideal starting point. The potential time saving there is huge.
Okay. Or if crafting presentations takes forever and you dread it.
Then Prezi AI is likely where you'll see the quickest and maybe most impactful gains, both in time saved and potentially in the quality or engagement of your presentations. Address the biggest bleed first.
It makes sense. What about practical things like cost? Are these all expensive?
That's a really important consideration. Some of these tools, like creating custom GPTs or using the ChatGPT image generation, are often included within a standard ChatGPT Plus subscription, which makes them very accessible if you already have that.
So you leverage what you might already be paying for.
Right. Others, like Prezi AI, Claude's advanced models, chat-based Gid, they typically have their own separate subscription plans, often with different tiers.
So you need to prioritize based on potential ROI.
Absolutely. Think about which tool addresses that biggest pain point and calculate the potential time savings versus the cost. Prioritize the ones that offer the highest likely return on investment for your specific needs and budget.
And maybe start with things that offer free trials.
Definitely. And that brings up the next point, experimentation. As with any new technology, don't be afraid to just play around a bit.
Kick the tires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most of these tools offer free trials, or at least limited free tiers.
Yeah.
Dedicate a few hours, maybe block it on your calendar, to actually testing out the 2 or 3 tools that seem most promising for your specific workflow and those pain points you identified.
See what clicks.
Right. The goal isn't just to adopt AI for the sake of it. It's to discover what genuinely empowers your unique way of working, what actually makes your life easier and more productive.
That's great practical advice. Identify the pain, consider the cost and ROI, and experiment.
So wrapping up, these 7 AI tools we've explored today, they really do represent a fundamental shift, don't they?
They really do. It's a shift in how work gets done. And I think it's important to reiterate, this isn't about AI replacing human ingenuity or critical judgment. It's actually the opposite.
How so?
It's about eliminating, or at least drastically reducing, those repetitive, time-consuming, often soul-crushing tasks that drain your energy and clog up your day, filling you up for.
Freeing you up to focus your unique human creativity, your strategic thinking, your empathy, your critical judgment on the work that truly matters, the work that requires a human touch.
The age of spending countless hours on routine administrative or data wrangling tasks. Maybe that's ending.
I truly believe it is, or at least it can be if we embrace these tools. The age of AI-amplified productivity has definitely begun. It promises a more efficient, more effective, and I think ultimately a more fulfilling work life.
A more fulfilling work life. That's a powerful promise. So as you, our listener, consider maybe dipping your toes into these AI tools or maybe diving in deeper, I want to leave you with a final thought to reflect on.
Okay.
How might this shift, this reclaiming of potentially 10+ hours a week, this reduction in tedious tasks, this freeing up of your mental bandwidth, how might that fundamentally reshape your relationship with work itself? Not just making you faster, but allowing you to prioritize and truly focus on the uniquely human aspects of your contributions, the things that only you can bring to the table. What becomes possible then?